to this last section of modules for SBS 335, Digital Ethnographies. We are going to be now moving into exploring 3 different ethnographies that I have selected for you so that you can see how ethnographers and anthropologists have actually enacted research and come to certain conclusions on the digital realm more specifically. The first of the 3 is on Second Life that I'm assuming all of you know. The Second Life is this, I don't know if I should call this a game or a platform for interaction with people that are recreating a life in ways that might be better than the life they have, or they just want to feel and act differently. We read something about Second Life already in the first of the 3 units, and now we're going to go back to it and explore this more in detail. I think it's a fascinating ethnography, and I'm going to be asking you not to read the entire ethnography, which is a lengthy book, but at least read the introduction that I have posted for you on this week, and as one of the annotations you might be able to be doing. Second Life is an interesting ethnography, in my opinion, because it does 3 things that are critically important for us when we're engaging in ethnography. And then I will say why, also the way it's been done, it's particularly important and interesting. The first one is it identifies a field where humans interact as a field that is worth conducting research on. And so it presents the space that has been doing research as a space that is just as natural a space as it might be a community or an aggregation that you're studying as an ethnographer, which is interesting. So it's a bold proposal, which ends up being questioned by many anthropologists. That is, to what extent we can truly say that a realm like Second Life, for example, it's on its own right a space that is distinct and independent where people can live their lives. Can it be, or is it just part of the life that people are living there and beyond? So that's sort of the big question. But it tackles that, and it presents this space as a space where we can conduct ethnographic research proper. I think that's interesting and that's provocative. So that leads to this aspect that I'm keenly interested in you being aware of, that is the methodology. What are the appropriate methodologies that an anthropologist can use to explore the realm? And he goes into great detail explaining how methodological applications are to be used in the digital realm. So I think that's pretty valuable in that sense. The second one is the fact that he makes a really interesting, profound consideration of theoretical implications of this. So that's the part that I want you to pay attention. How to theorize about these aspects of life in the digital realm. The first aspect that he is reflecting on is the extent to which these virtual spaces are to be considered post-human, that it's sort of a different type of human reality than the one that we're used to. And his contention is that there's nothing post-human about living and working and deploying who you are, your identity, your dreams, everything in Second Life. It is fundamentally human, which should be an argument that would resonate with you if you consider those prior readings that we have done, particularly the book on digital ethnographies, that very much so reflects on to what extent the digital is different from the human. So his point of view is that it is not different. And then he proposes another really interesting and thought-provocative element, that is the idea that virtuality is not independent from human. It's actually core to what human is or means. So what makes us human is the capacity that we have to create these virtual worlds and visions. And if we're saying that humans are symbolic animals, then this should really hone in as an important statement to be made in terms of creating deep understanding as to what's going on in the digital realm. And then last but not least, another concept that you should be paying attention to in his writing is this idea of us living in a new age, which is the age of techne. It's a Greek word for instrumental. Um, you know that it seems to be a fad, or maybe it's going to stick. But nowadays, anthropologists are talking about us living in even a new geological sphere, the anthroposphere, which so we have transformed the landscape of the planet to that extent that this new layer is mostly a human layer. Um, I was just thinking the other day when I drive around and I go to the natural world and I look at the landscape, it's pretty amazing and remarkable the extent to which the landscape that we see out there when we're driving on a road and that we consider to be nature is in reality a landscape that has been transformed and created and manipulated by humans. So there's very little spaces in the planet that have not been profoundly transformed and that do not continue to be profoundly transformed by humans. We're just too many, too pervasive, too ingenious, too crafty, and we just transform everything. So anyway, so that's another aspect of the interest in the reading. The book explores a number of items, issues, elements that are also core to and central to what we've been exploring. He gives a nice overview of the history of virtuality, of the virtual world. He has all kinds of discussions in the context of anthropology about the digital worlds. So it's a really informative book in terms of understanding what else has been or is being done in terms of exploring digital worlds. Then he goes deeper into what's the core of the book, as you will know right, just by reading at the introduction that I'm asking you to read, how sociality and our interaction, symbolic and otherwise, in the virtual worlds are real, significant, and important. And then last but not least, he connects back, seemingly, to our offline life, which is um, the economics of it, the political economy of Second Life, so to speak. That is how capitalism has a lot to do with the creation of these spaces. So it's an interesting read, really interesting ethnography. And this week we're going to engage in exploring these materials as part of our completing the full cycle of exploration this semester. As in prior modules, since I shift gears, this is going to be a nice exploration. I'll bring to your attention both the actual introduction to the ethnography as well as certain materials that I have selected for you. And then I'm going to be asking you a few questions in the problem-solving part of the module, and just looking forward to seeing and listening to your reflections on this particular read. I am going to be posting a follow-up short video explaining once again the final paper for this course. I posted the instructions for the paper, and this week I'm going to explain what is it that I'm expecting. I mentioned this explanation to a few of you, but I want you all to have that handy when you start writing your paper. All right, see you soon.